Hi guys, it's your host David from S&D Explore here, and today I am reading out a scary story. So on Instagram, somebody contacted me, his name is Bertinis, and said he has a scary story that he would like us to read. So yeah, I told him, yes, that's fine, and he sent me the story. So it's called Kathy's Eyes, and yeah, it's quite long, so it will take up a whole video, but it looks interesting, so leave a like, subscribe, share the video, and let's get into it. This scary story is called Kathy's Eyes. The body reeked like puke and piss mixed together. I enjoyed it, but that part wasn't the best. Shooting them was easy enough, but I had to dispose of them. They smelled bad. They made noises after an hour or two, and you had to drive like a fucking saint. One tiny mistake could get you stopped by a cop for speeding. Then they'd find the body, and it would all be over. The body was shaking around in there. I could tell they always shook when I drove on Saint Bartholomew's. Once I had finished burying the thing, I gave a sigh and started laughing. Not conventional soft laughter, but manic, thoughtless hysteria. I felt like a clown at the circus, like I was being watched. This made me feel uncomfortable as I buried Kathy Graham. Or was it Roger Spencer? I couldn't tell anymore. They were all prey to me. I drove out to the woods near Thorpenton. It was quiet out there, just quiet enough to bury the body. Kathy Graham had been a sweet girl, always picking up trash and holding fundraisers. It was at one of these fundraisers she had experienced her last moments with me. I hadn't planned it well. For months, I had just been staring at her when I came into town for gas. She mesmerized me, like an angel. I became obsessed, not sexually, just staring. One day, I mustered up the courage to talk to her. I said, "Hey, I'm the dad of a new student here, Patrick. Are you in his grade?" Kathy replied to this odd yet charming man, "I know Patrick. I'm in 10th grade." I pretended to agree with Kathy. "Yeah, that's him." She didn't seem too suspicious of me. I imagine she wasn't. I'm quite a charmer after all. Kathy smiled at me. "Yeah, I'll tell him you dropped in." I knew that if she talked to Patrick, then she would find out that I was lying. So I made up an excuse. "Oh, don't. He'll get all embarrassed. Just keep an eye on him for me." Kathy agreed and went on her way. I relished the memory of talking to her. I had never had a romance, but she somehow completed me in some sick way. I should have stopped right there, but something in me kept going. Over time, I talked to her more, casually, in passing, but one day she seemed sad. Her face was red, like she'd been crying. I went up to her and thought I could not express myself too emotionally. I noticed that something was wrong, and in my own odd way, I felt sorry for the girl. I asked her about it. "What's wrong there, hon?" She answered in a way that made it obvious she wanted to hide something. "Nothing. I'm okay." I gave her a stare that said 1,000 words. "I'm here to help. Tell me all your deepest, darkest secrets." Somehow, it worked. "I've been having some problems with my boyfriend, Roger." I gave her a look of compassion. that even I was proud to have mastered. Do you want to talk about it? Over some coffee, maybe? Kathy was receptive to this proposal. Sure, by your paying. I was happy to pay. This was my opening. We walked a few blocks to Sal's Coffee and Pastry Palace. Despite the name, it was quite dilapidated. It looked like one of these abandoned houses in Chernobyl. The place was basically a graveyard with cakes, but it was the best we had, and I'd suck it up for her. We sat in a booth and ordered black coffee. We talked for a while. It started with trivial chatter about how Patrick was doing and her grades, but after all that, I still felt no interest. I thought she would be like a treasure trove of inner beauty, but she was average. I was bored. She couldn't tell. She began asking about my life, but I was quite vague, and she could tell I had no interest in spilling my secrets to a teenager. So she began to talk about Roger. So, Roger and I were dating for like 4 months. Everything was great, until we became distant. I was a master at my craft. I knew how to get what I wanted. What made you distant? She seemed reluctant, but like any other psychopath, I charmed her with a look. I looked into her eyes, and she knew she could tell me anything. I was quite handsome as well, which helped. Roger and I were kissing. Her face grew red, but I glared at her. My blue eyes said, "Continue with the story." So she did. We were kissing, but he wanted to take it further. He wanted to. She seemed reluctant again. She tried to force herself to say it, but the words wouldn't come out, so I waited. It felt like hours, but she began speaking again. He wanted mouth stuff. He didn't want to do it to me because he said I had bed bugs down there. So I sucked him dry. It wasn't that great. He wasn't that big, but the way he moved his finger around, like I was a doll or something. I began gagging as he held my head down. Eventually, I puked right on it. He threw me off and I hit my head. He put on his clothes and told me it was okay. The next day, he got off and told everybody that I sucked him dry, and everybody called me a slut. People started laughing at me, offering me money for a blowjob. That was yesterday. I seemed concerned, but I was really intrigued. That's awful. If someone did that to me. Kathy started crying, so I put my hand on her shoulder. At first, I thought she'd find it creepy, but I soon found that she was into it. She held my arm, and the sexual tension became palpable. Note that this girl was about 16, so fucking her was illegal, but not necessarily unethical. She was self-aware and understood sex, so she seemed fine to me. I kept having coffee with her. I went every day to take her for coffee. We talked often. Soon enough, we got close. Very close. Something about the twinkle in her eye made me feel strangely whole. It might have been love, or at least something like that. Either way, it went further. One day, I brought some whiskey with me and poured it in her coffee. I had planned this for some time. I wanted to help her drink so I could gain more favour and also leverage. I handed her a flask. It was warm and cold at the same time. I talked as smoothly as always and said, "If this Roger guy thought you had bed bugs, let me prove him wrong. By now she had chugged the whiskey and it had burnt through her, so she was more receptive to my advances. Sure, how? I answered this naive question with more adult answer. By eating you out in his bed. She seemed confused, but soon asked some questions, as I expected. How would we get to his bed? She smiled at me in a way that she perceived as sexy, but I perceived it as slightly desperate. Well, I'd steal his keys and would break in. I said this so seriously that she could not bring herself to believe that I was joking. How do you get his key? I had carefully considered a plan, so I knew exactly what to say and how to say it. I predicted her questions easily enough. She was rather predictable. She had hopes and dreams, typical of a girl her age. She wanted to settle down and have a family. She wanted to become a nurse, complete medical school, maybe have a few grandkids one day. Somehow I could understand this. I read her well. Her emotions were easy to read because they were so basic. That's what people were to me. I saw into their souls, but didn't feel anything other than either disgust, curiosity, or pleasure. I answered her question. I'll beat him up in a ski mask and take them. She laughed, so I followed as to make her seem like I was kidding. My gambit paid off. I eventually made a new plan. I would just take them. She agreed with this plan and left to meet up with some friends. My aim was simple: find this guy and somehow get his keys. As I walked, I saw a lemonade stand. I went to get some, as the coffee had warmed me up in the middle of the summer. The girl selling the stuff was pretty, must have been about 10 or so. I wasn't interested in killing her though. She was too young. My victims had to understand what was happening to them. She would have just been scared. That wasn't enough for me. I had to see in the eyes a look that said, I'm fucked. There's no way out. I'm fucked. And with her, would have just been so fucking normal that wouldn't have made it pointless. And burying them was a tough job. It had to reap rewards. The lemonade was sweet, bitter as well, but it was cold, and that was what I bought it for. I approached my jeep and bumped into some guy on the sidewalk. I was fucking pissed, so I got ready to beat him to a plump. But as I looked up, I saw there was Roger. Roger seemed apologetic and offered to give me something for my trouble. I replied to Roger, seeing an opportunity in this encounter. Get us some drinks and I'll tell you're my kid. Being a teenager who couldn't pass for 12, let alone 16, agreed. The bar was about a mile and a half away, so I hopped into my car. I wanted to just crash it. He'd forgotten his seatbelt and wouldn't have made it out alive. But I thought better of it. I realized that killing him like that would look bad, and I probably too tight. The car clicked and clacked like chitty chitty bang bang. The road seemed to go on forever and a half. We spoke for a while, mostly just about football and girls. I didn't watch football, but I was able to manipulate the conversation to make it seem like I knew what I was talking about. I talked about the Oregon Ducks, the state football team. Did you see the game? Roger answered, yeah, can't believe the Patriots managed to get a win with those odds. I feigned sadness to make it seem like I was relieving some loss. This made Roger feel more comfortable with me. Roger cried out in laughter to clear away the bad mood. He perceived in me, ha, did you see Madsen's kick? From such a shit quarterback too. I laughed. I understood Roger well. It was uncomfortable for me. I saw that the boy had some deep scarring somewhere inside. That's why he laughed so much. The guy was like an onion, layer after layer. I wasn't like that. I was like a black hole, sucking in emotions without feeling. I read others, like books, but never understood them. Not really. I was an emotional meme artist and had mastered my craft. Roger went on. He was a chatty guy. He wouldn't shut up. What do you do? I replied, in somewhat uninterested tone. A thought came through my head, and I very almost said, I'm a creepy guy who kills people for fun. But I thought better of it, and understood quite casually, and answered quite casually. I hunt, shoot deer, and squirrels and crap. For some reason this made Roger laugh, and then to my surprise, I laughed too. Not phony laughing, real laughter, almost hysteria. I stopped the car and kept on laughing. Roger began to find it creepy, but his ignorance soon made him forget his suspicions. Just as a piece of advice for all the kids out there, if a creepy psycho invites you for a drink, say yes, they're damn interesting. On this occasion, I was able to get my young friend and I some drinks. With his money, of course. We got pretty much hammered. It started with some beers and ended with 2 bottles of whiskey. He found it hard at first. He was a virgin, being knocked in by an experienced older man. But over time, he chugged his whiskey like a man. Something about the raw masculinity he projected made me feel companionship, real companionship, and the feeling was alien to me. So he kept drinking and drinking and drink some more. I couldn't even see that well. I was properly drunk, so was Roger. Us 2 men connected in a way that I cannot shake. For some reason, he haunts my dreams. We walked home. I left my car as I had loads of incriminating stuff in there and couldn't risk the cops stopping me. We decided to go to Roger's place and play pool. His father had a set and was out of town. This was my opportunity, but I was so hammered I didn't even remember why I was there. Roger's place was nice. He was a trust fund kid and had a lot of nice stuff. The house looked clean, but he had told me his mother was dead, so I presumed he had a cleaner. We sat on his couch and watched some Looney Tunes. Something about that bunny guy with the teeth reminded me of my father. I began to cry. I couldn't understand why. Roger seemed not to care, but he asked, "What's with the waterworks?" Something about the way he said it reminded me of my father. I didn't remember anything else about what happened that night. It was a blur, but I know I woke up the next morning covered in his blood, holding a pool ball in my hand that was covered in blood and brains. I was scared. I knew that my DNA was all over the place. I was fucked. I ran out of the house without doing anything. I assumed I had killed him last night. As I walked up to my car, I saw 2 cops parked beside it. One was a fat man and the other was a thin guy. They seemed like a classic duo, and I laughed heartily. I thought of names for the detective show: Volleyball and Stickman. The cops noticed me, and I realized that I might have just screwed myself, but somehow they noticed nothing. The fat cop spoke to me. "What you looking at there, son?" I answered. I was convinced that they were messing with me. I was covered in blood. They were bound to know. "I'm alright." The thin cop gave me a look, and I knew it was over. I simply said, "Nice shirt." Then the cops drove off without a word. I was in shock. I had no idea what just happened. I was covered in a man's blood and I didn't react. I knew something was wrong, so I immediately drove home, changed my clothes. I burned them too. I washed all over. I wasn't scared anymore, not really, but I felt apprehension of my impending arrest. So I decided, after a hard think, that I would eat Kathy out. I didn't care if there was a body there. I was fucked anyway, so I might as well enjoy myself. The car keys fumbled in my hands as I started my Jeep. The drive was unusually long, though I felt no remorse. I was annoyed. I somehow felt cheated by Roger, in that I had lost a friend, and taking blame wasn't my strong suit. Kathy was walking out of school, and we went straight past the coffee shop and went back to Roger's place in a flash. Without even thinking, I opened the door and threw her onto the couch. I ripped her pink panties off like an animal. At first, just kissed the thighs, biting at them in a way that made her tremble and sweat. I had a beard which tickled her asshole as I licked. The labia majora tingled as I licked around it delicately. I was a good lover by any standard. I trickled the perineum with my chin. She started laughing, and then after I had started putting a finger in, she started moaning. My technique was very clinical. While I could not feel good in pleasuring her, I felt powerful, knowing that I controlled her orgasms, that I controlled her. I put 2 fingers in. This made her grab my head, and I thrust my fingers inside her. I saw Roger's body smiling at me. I was quite shocked and stopped. She thought I was teasing her, and said in her raspy little voice, "Don't stop." I didn't. I kept going. She came, even squirting a little. Female ejaculation was rare. So rare, in fact, this was my first sighting of the phenomenon in 40 years. After she had finished, I stared at the body. It kept smiling. The worst part was the eyes. The eyes rolled like they had life. In my darkest dreams they did. I was terrified. I knew that she noticed, so I prepared to strangle her the moment she saw it. She put what remained of her underwear back on. She giggled and thanked me. "You were amazing. Where did you learn that?" I answered her. "I learned it when I was a bit older than you." "Do you want to hear the story?" "After what you just did, I'd listen to any story you had to offer." So she sat down right next to the body. This made my stomach churn, but she didn't notice somehow. Was she playing with me, like those cops did earlier? I began my story. I was about 16. My brothers and sisters were all gone. My dad owned a farm, and he was a good dad, I guess. I was 16 and hadn't had sex yet, so my dad, he was a bit of a drunk, went and hired a whore for my 17th birthday. He stopped, realizing that this story was twisted, and she'd probably think he was psychotic, which he was, to be fair. She pressed him on. "Come on, I won't mind." He finally blurted it out. "I was given this whore, but my father was a bit of a cheapskate, so to make sure he got his money's worth, he banged her first, while I watched. Then he made me do it while he watched us. I could tell he enjoyed it, but I didn't. I just got it over with. She faked an orgasm, but I knew she hated it. I could tell. I hated it too. But I did it, and he smiled at me and said, Clean up your mess, son. I did it. By his mess and mine mixed together, it tasted putrid, and for some reason my dad's was yellowy. Kathy seemed disgusted. Oh God, I wish you hadn't told me that. I'm sorry, that sounds bad. I nodded, but I didn't care. I had no inhibitions in my confidence in myself whatsoever, so I didn't really give a hoot about it. I was only worried that I'd lose my latest conquest. Kathy was quite a nice girl though. She forgave me, and besides, I licked carpet like a vacuum cleaner. Nothing else was said. She went home, and so did I. I was happy. I had gotten what I wanted. Total control over her. Over a month or two, we became distant. That was until a fundraiser came up. She invited me and said she was sorry. I shouldn't have ghosted you like that. I shouldn't have ghosted you like that. I know you must be feeling rough. I told her it was okay, and I would love to come to her fundraiser. I don't remember what it was for, but it was something like puppies needing cancer surgery, or some sort of crap like that. Either way, this was a way back into her life. As I walked around the town, I bumped into someone. I told someone to fuck your mother, but I looked up and saw it was none other than Roger. A look of total fear blackened my face. He was seeing a dead man. Roger spoke to him casually, like everything was normal. Hey, it's been a while, but I loved your chat last week. I agreed. Yeah, it was pretty cool. I blacked out. Do you remember what happened? Roger answered. Yeah, you tried to play the piano and nearly broke it. You puked twice, ate 3 cereal bowls of Lucky Charms cereal. I laughed. I couldn't believe I had done that. I asked another serious question, but veiled it as a joke. So I didn't kill anyone with a pool ball then? Roger was creeped out but pretended to be a joke. Nah, just what I said. We both went our separate ways. Would not see each other again until the fundraiser started. Next week, on the day of the fundraiser, I got my best clothes on. Long jeans, a polo shirt, and even combed my hair for once. I was pretty rocked, so this was a challenge. I managed, of course, and made my way there. I parked my car nearby. I was planning to have fun today. I did. Kathy was up front, and we talked a while. I got hard pretty quickly. She was wearing a skin-tight red dress. It had an ass like no tomorrow, and she still owed me for servicing her. Soon though my mind wandered. I chose to mingle a little bit, before taking her home and fucking her like a beast. Roger was there, drinking with some girls. I walked up to them, and we all chatted a while. From that point, I don't remember everything. I convinced Roger that we could have a threesome with Kathy. Oddly, he agreed. I offered to take her home with me, and she agreed. The party would carry on without anyone noticing. I grabbed her pussy. She seemed to like this. Then I told her about a threesome plan, and she hit me hard. I felt rejection. It was not a good feeling. It was like being punched in the chest and kicked in the balls, all at once. Roger tried to get me to cool off, but I didn't. She was walking home, alone. This was my chance. I grabbed the rifle in full sight of people. No one batted an eye or even noticed. Roger did, and he objected. He could see it in my eyes, so I ran off into the night, rifle in my hand, ready to kill the bitch. Roger shouted, "Cool off, man, it's fine." I ignored him. She saw me running after her with a gun. She screamed for help. No one came. I pointed my gun at her, but Roger wrestled it off me. I kicked him to the ground, and we punched each other. Kathy ran over and tried to help. I managed to get the gun in the end and made them kneel. I spoke to them in a harsh voice as she screamed, "I have a game for you. You both run towards those trees over there. I will close my eyes and shoot one of you. The other gets to live." Roger called me a bastard, so I broke his nose. After about a minute of sobbing and pleading, Kathy got up. Roger followed suit. I spoke like some sort of umpire. "On your marks." They hugged each other and talked about calling the police. "Ready?" Kathy cried and said she wanted more time. "Set?" Roger apologized for calling her a slut and told her he loved her, but before I could say go, rather than run off, leave the other behind, I shot in an instant, and the slowest one was dead. The body flopped onto the ground like a beanbag. I had my fill. It was heavier than I expected. The blood felt warm on my skin as I carried it to the car. That was when I realized I was the only friend I'd ever needed. Even now, I don't remember which one I killed. They're all the same to me, and I never saw either of them again. I know I killed one. There was blood in my trunk and everything, but I don't know which one. Did I kill Roger Spencer or Kathy Graham? It doesn't matter anymore. Something about the night always depressed me. Then I remembered Kathy's eyes. Okay, that was quite a long one, but it's quite a good one. And seriously, I mean, it would be great if it was a bit shorter. It's got, yeah, so just took up an entire video, but it was quite good. So this was by Bertinis. Yeah, his Instagram will also be in the description box below. And yeah, that's all from me. Leave a like, subscribe, and share the video with a friend. And see you in the next video. Peace.